do, I'm replacing GBP USD with GBP JPY. Why? Because GBP USD, I more or less just use that just for example purposes and a quick breakdown. And now we're going to expand into GJ, which is one of my favored pairs. And I also know that it's a favored pair of many other people too. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give a complete breakdown to wrap up everything that we've done so far on GJ, from top down, 3 month, monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour, go into the other chart and transition into some of the concepts that we've gone through so far. I do have, there's many other things to share, but slowly but surely we'll get there. So, excuse me. Number one, going into GJ on the 3 month chart. Now remember, GBP USD 3 month chart, we'd also had a double bottom at 1.2. GBP JPY, if you look at last month's candle, we had a spike. The low was around 126.50, and here we got various levels of huge support. If I line up to the body of this candle right here, 130, 124, 131. Bottom line is 130, 131 could not be surpassed on a 3 month time frame. And if you look now, the last quarter, this candle right here, you can see that it closed probably around 45% of the overall down move, and then we quickly whip back to the upside. Currently a bullish engulfing formation, but we can only tell at the end of the year how that is going to go and what it's going to look like. So now we go into the monthly. Let's have a look at the month just to give us a scope. Monthly scope, just by eye, I can see that 155, we could come all the way back up to that level. Again, here we have huge volatility, volume, liquidity just pump into the downside after this small consolidation area, but it also lines up with the high in which it retested and revisited at 155. Over here last month we had the tweezer bottom, and again double bottom 1, 2, but it looks like, looking in further perspective, further detail, 127.50s up to, I don't know, 128 is a pretty decent area of support. So again, that's just something to keep in mind. We also have these small peaks and valleys over here, boom, 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 boom. Weekly, this is where we can get busy. So at the minute, if we go in and place horizontal line first and foremost, what I'm looking at is, okay, we have the top end of this small doji here. Okay, goes all the way into 136, is it? Okay, I'm going to place it at the top of that. Excuse my green line. What we can see is if I place, because that's a significant high, I place a line at the top at 135.73, and bringing it across here, you can see where the support was before, broke below, nearly a retest, and then here again we broke above, retested that zone, and went for the highs. That's one. Secondary, I'm going to place one at the high, the weekly high from 2 weeks ago, because that is prominent, and it also crosses over with the back end tail of the shooting star, support here as well, here and then here once more. So that's 140, 150. So this is a decent range to work from. If it does break to the upside, what I'm looking for is if I can simply just go back in time a little bit and look at these 3 spikes and wicks over there before the downfall, 147.04. That's good enough for me. And then downside, very, very simple put, just here. So we had the resistance, if I just put it on that. Okay, so here, support, resistance, support. Simple as that. It's quite straightforward, and that's the weekly more or less done. So at the moment, if you look into the weeklies on the day, you can see that the day pushed up into the high, made the weekly high. If I line my crosshair up at 141, you can see that no price and no body could actually close above that. So right now, what I'm looking for is, I am actually looking for downside momentum on GJ, to tell you the truth. Now, remember that a few videos ago where we actually took away the daily lines. I'm not going to do the daily lines here going forward. I was just showing you certain processes, and it depends as to where you're actually at in your trading journey, especially with chart work. Just put trading to the side, analysis work. Have a play around with it. If there are some I've told you exactly how to do it again on the bodies. But with me, if I look at, let's say gold, for instance, if I look at gold, I really like my charts just focused on mainly the 4 hour levels, because now I've introduced this to you, the intraday and the session times and so on. Again, we've still got a lot of work to do with that, but it just matches up really, really well, and it keeps it simple, and I'm able to see most of the turns in the market, especially on the lower time frames, in conjunction to what I've done on the 4 hourly. So as you can see, by me taking off those dailies, I just like clean, clarity, crystal clear charts, and again, it makes it easier for my price action analysis over here on the 30-minute, 15, and sometimes 5. So that's that. All right, so here, GBP JPY, what I'm then going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go straight into the 4 hourly with this and look for areas of value. So number 1, I can clearly see over here before the uprise, the body of this candle, there you go, just above 136. There's one there. Upside, you can see, okay, we have doji, pullback, doji, volume. Highs, take the high across right there. It's a thin, very thin area. You can see where we tapped into it once more over here. And to the downside, there's various areas to tell you the truth, but my biggest one is going to be this one here, because we have the huge volume spike, short pullback, and then we travel to the upside. Then we make our high, so on. So what I'm going to do, we're going to bring this across just there. So I've got 3 main areas. The other areas, simple. I'm going to go in with the arrow. I'm going to mark off. Okay, so where my crosshair is from these 2 bodies across. You could go here, but again, I just want to mark off that entire range, to tell you the truth. It's off by about 1 or 2 pips here, but you can see that was first printed. Secondary touch, third touch, pull down. And as you can see now, we are consolidating. What I would do here is where these 2 dojis are, I would just draw minor support. It's a nice little minor support area right there for GJ. And then downside wise, if we want to go a little bit lower, we have this area and we have this zone too. Which one would we go for? That is obviously the first prominent one, because we have the test here, and then we also had the bullish engulfing, which is tested once more too. But I'm going to go with this one just because in real time right now, it just makes more sense. So we can see all of the levels marked out on GJ. If you go a little bit lower, that's what we're looking for. So what can happen, again, I don't want to attach a bias to it or a complete thesis to this. Let's have a look at GA. Okay, so GA's area is a little bit thicker than GJ, but I'm quite happy with that so far. I am actually quite happy. Lower spectrum, if we do get there, cross that bridge when we come to it. The only other area that I would be aware of is simply this one here, taking it from the bodies and across. Okay, that is it. Simple as that. So we can clearly read the PA. Clearly read the PA. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. So I've just done that in the matter of 5 or 6 minutes, and I haven't looked at GJ or mapped it out like this in a long time. So that's just a realistic freestyle, if you will, as to how we've just marked GJ out in a very, very short, rapid space of time. Okay, so what was the date again on the Monday? The date on the Monday was the... Okay. So, let's do this. Vertical line. So here, let's just map this out real quick. Okay, so 0, 0, it can get a bit fiddly, come on. All right, so 8 a.m. Right, so option V, 8 a.m. 14, 8 a.m. 18, 8 a.m. 1400 hours, 6 p.m., 1800 hours. Now let's go into that. Then let's mark on 8 a.m. Then let's mark on 1400 hours, 2 p.m. Then we're going to do 6 p.m. London goes home. Then we're going to do 12, Asia start, London start, p.m. boom, and then 8 a.m. Then we have, okay, nearly finished, guys. Okay. So again, we'll map out the whole week. And the beauty of this is, again, once you have this on your charts within like a few weeks or so, what I found is any new concept that you come across, it just takes a few weeks to like be embedded in your mind. So just work at it every single day. And the process for many of us is elimination of bad habits and old systems. Please do not mix up any other system with anything what I've presented in, especially with the Astro Advanced, okay? Because it's not going to work. It really isn't going to work. This is just a standalone regime. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to look into the previous price action, what's actually happened on GJ since last week's market open. So where were we? Let's have a look on the chart over here. Where did we start? So let's look here. So there, so we were here. Okay, so mini gap down, market pulls back up, and all we've really done in total is we've gone from the 139.40 area into the previous 4-hourly high at 140.61. We've tapped into that. Bearish engulfing's brought us all the way back down, and now we're more or less back in mid-range. So look at the weekly closure. It's a bit soft. It's not really doing too much. Daily, we have Thursday, we have the shooting star / bearish engulfing formation at 140.50. If I put my crosshair right there as well, you can clearly see where price could not surpass that area. And then we go into the 4-hour, and we're looking as if, okay, if market was open now, we've got various spikes. We'll break this down at the end. But yeah, all we really did was go to the upside and then retrace a little bit. So let's look at some of the patterns and formations that we can see here. Now, Asia came through with not too much to offer with a low there, and that was the low of the week at some point. And you know what? I think that could be a case of stretching that all the way across, because market can come back into that region once more. So the low of the week was formed. We had a bit of volatility here. We came up to the upside and then we just pulled back. So we've more or less retraced on the whole weekly agenda. We've more or less retraced 50% of what it did. Now next week, if this is going to sink back to the downside, we will be revisiting 139.30. So again, that's why I'm going to keep that level on there and spread it across. Asia, we open, and then we have the Asia high too. So the Asia high is right there. Okay. On the session switch over, London, if I move this out of the way, as you can see, push it higher. So I'm going to put Asia high right there. Once the high was formed, London pushed GJ back to the downside, but again, they respect what's happened over here. Market gets pushed back into a Asia high over here in London, and then again, we chop around for a little bit. However, over here, okay, looking at some of the PA, this breakout on the left hand side candle, the 4-hourly, is this over here. So what actually happens is London between 8 and 2 p.m, more or less, what time was this on the breakout? Was 1 in the afternoon. Push through, breakout, amazing retest of Asia high right there, and then as you can see, market goes up to new highs. America opens and it gives us a high here. So again, what we can do is we can drag this box across. The American high may have been valid. Let's have a look if we just bring this across a little bit. The American high, okay, was formed. It didn't really do too much in the US session. After 6 p.m, the gap session between 6 and 12, pushed into it, bearish engulfing back off, pushed into it, back off. The US low is right here as well. We can just take that into consideration by eye. Boom. Asia respect US highs, make a new low. So Asia makes its new little low just here, bringing that across. And we have the false break to the downside. And this here, surprisingly, doesn't really test any area, to tell you the truth. However, if we are quick on the mark, its first low in which was made, we then get a retest of that. And then again, it's another trap move. It's a whipsaw move. So we have consolidation for 1, 2, 3 sessions. We whipsaw to the downside, false spike, and then as you can see, as we've seen with GBP AUD, we pushed from the lows 139.50 psychological level, double bottom on the 15-minute, and we push all the way through, breaking Asia's low, and we push all the way through, and look how magically we test the previous US high, and that was in London session. So if I just move this out the way as well, oh, come on, look at this breakout, look at perfect retest, and then we get the continuation on the session overlap at 8 a.m. So then what happens is US session, they come out, okay, we spike into this area, we break through, we retest here, we make highs, new highs on US, which is now the high of the week, by the way. That's now the high of the week, so we can bring this all the way across. And then from there onward, market is pushed back to the downside. Okay, we break through this area. I can take that one off. We break through that area, and look what happens. We test again perfectly the Asia low. Then we consolidate. This is this is the gap high. I'm not going to draw anything on there, but I'll look at it by eye. Then Asia, we make the low in Asia. We stay respectfully above the previous Asia low, which is just right here. Then the market, look what the market does again. Rallies into the US high once, rallies into US high twice, and that's bang on the gap once more, 8 a.m. Again, over here, consolidation, false break into the highs, but then what we can clearly see is the price momentum be shifted from A into B. Then we make new lows over here. So bringing that low across. So in London session, spike, spike, spike. We have the bearish engulf in here as well. And this area, if you look, Asia low right there. Bang, it hits Asia low. Does that make sense? Broken Asia lows, retested Asia lows, bearish engulfing takes us back below the lows of here. And look at this perfect retest, number one. Then what happens is on the gap down, US makes a fat low. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we can clearly see market drives, and I was watching this, I actually caught this trade long. Drive, this is a trap. This is a huge trap. Why? Because imagine how many people would see that and be like, oh my god, it's going short, and look where it drives into. The gap overlay at 6 p.m. where US makes its low, drives into that, suddenly just stops, halts, and then what happens? Anybody who's going short here, GJ, will have stops above this area, stops above this area, and look what happens. Market drives back, Asia pushes it back up, because London and US kind of went wild after Asia's not really doing anything. Asia had to bring that back up. And then now, this area is still relevant. Can you see how the areas interchange as we go along, like 1 or 2 days, and just have to keep updating them? What I'm looking for now is, obviously you have the weekly low down here, guys. However, GJ in the last few days has been consolidating. So Asia lifted it up, London respected, US respected, and then market closed. So a good few sessions has respected that. Something now needs to happen. So this is more or less waiting for liquidity. So here, this is this here is the London low, bringing it across. Look at that. Boom, price dump, trap. See here, this is a price dump, and the momentum would have been pretty strong now. And when I pull up the volume on the next video, you will see how a lot of these fake moves can be spotted, and a lot of them are just price drives into the previous session's high or low. And as you can see here, anybody who's going short on this stops here, market comes back up, ding, straight through 140, 140.10, and then market continues in the overall direction. So our market is working every single day. So many opportunities. Let me just divert your attention to the 30-minute chart. Now the 30-minute chart is really, really good, because what we can use this, we do all of our plottings on the 15-minute, sessions high, session low. We can, again, you can add MAs and play around with that if you really want to, but 30-minute brilliant signal here, 30-minute brilliant signal, push through and bearish engulfing straight off that area. What also do we see, if we move this out of the way? Okay, cool. So we have the spike to the upside, closure in the area, and then the market is now, you know, heading back to the downside. Over here on the 30-minute, look at this 3-pin formation, 1, 2, 3. Market rallies back in. Market dumps itself back into that area, and then swiftly comes back off. We got the pin bar there as well. Whoops, we got the pin bar, and then we got a nice 40-50 pip move to the upside here. Let's have a look at this PA. So the market stalls here, stalls after breaking one of the previous highs. Okay, stalls, massive breakdown, kills off the prior Asia low, retests it 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th time's a bearish engulfing, taking it from one structural area to the next, spike into that area, so on and so forth. But yeah, the 30-minute, can you see a lot of movement happens bang on the hour here? Okay, so just bear that in mind as well. But mixing up the 30-minute, again, there's many signals over here telling us that price is going to go in one particular direction, slow down. And then again, if you combine this, guys, if you look at where's the first price breakdown, here, sorry. So here, what we've seen on the 4-hourly is massive bearish engulfing formation come through, and then we can use this as macro, and then this is micro. Okay, and with more practice, that's why, again, look how clean we've kept this chart over here. We can read the areas, we can read the higher level points, and if you really want to, you can go ahead and then you can copy and paste some of the areas onto the smaller time frame chart. So I hope that opened your eyes up a little bit. What do I expect from GJ now? If the market was open, target 1 will be back down here, and I think that may line up very well. Okay, where is that? Okay, it's below the weekly open. The weekly open's here. Okay, so cool. What I'm looking at, we have the spiky PA behavior over here, and if I use my crosshair, we can see that there's a small area of 4-hour support resistance here. Sorry. So what I'm looking for is price breakdown over the next few days, and a dump into more or less 139. So we'll see how that one plays out. I hope you enjoyed that so far. And again, looking at gold on the 30-minute, GBP AUD. Let's hit that on the 30-minute. It's quite straightforward, guys. It's quite straightforward when, again, similar PA to GBP JPY, where I'm looking for the dump back to the downside, but you can clearly see bearish engulfing, spike slash mini pin, bearish engulfing, pins here, and clearly break structure, retest of structure right here, and then we're folding back to the downside ultimately. Let me just save this chart, save this one, and go ahead and save this one too. Okay guys, so on to the next video. I'm going to go into volume, I'm going to go into some other key principles, and then I'm going to do some recordings on live markets and go into this thesis on a deeper level. But as I say, there's opportunity every day in the market. You now have the clear time zones, UTC, please turn UTC on, work with the London time zones. And with practice, you're going to see how everything is so much more clearer. And this is stuff that I had to really push myself to share this. I didn't necessarily want to. I've never even showed anybody a chart that I actually use, to be honest. You know, posting on social media and stuff like that. But it is what it is. I mean, there's enough to go around. There's many other losers that are coming into the markets on a daily basis, and they're getting destroyed. So it's, you know, we're taking their money. So I hope I'm opening your eyes up and keeping things clear and simple and bringing something completely different to the table. So thank you very much for your attention. Let's move on to the next lesson.